Hi everyone! If you follow me on Instagram, you'll notice that I've been posting a lot of my home cooked meals on there recently. And a few of you have reached out and asked the question, how do I cook up all that wonderful kale that you make? I know kale can look very daunting. It kind of looks like spinach, but it's a lot thicker and you can't really eat it raw, some kinds, because it's too thick and too chewy and you'll be chewing it till next year. So how do you cook it? What do you do? I am going to invite you inside of my kitchen this evening and show you exactly how we prepare it in this house. There's a lot of ways to prepare it, but we found a way that is our favorite. And it's sauteed with a little bit of olive oil with a sprinkling of garlic salt at the end. So you're gonna see my husband standing at the stove, which might look different, but I will share that while I love to cook, I love making all of these meals in this house, and I love getting creative with every recipe that I put together. I sometimes spend too much time focusing on the entree, and I forget about the vegetable. And I'll put it on the stove, and I'll walk away, and I'll be mixing and stirring and doing everything I need to do, and say, oh, I forgot about the kale. And then I'll come back, and the kale will be overcooked, and it'll be burnt, and the top won't be cooked, but the bottom part will be crispy. So my husband stepped in a few years ago and started cooking up all of the vegetables that we eat on the side, for the most part. So anytime you see a photo, chances are he is the one that's prepared that vegetable on the side. So he's been doing this so well over the past few years that I have given him the title of King of Saute. So I present to you the King of Saute preparing our garlic sauteed kale. Have a wonderful dinner.
Hi everyone, I'm Adam, the King of Saute, and I'm going to be showing you how to saute up kale, which is one of our regular side dishes here. So what we have is our ingredients. We have a saute pan that's heating up about a tablespoon of olive oil. I've got garlic salt that I'll be seasoning with, and I've got about half a bag of kale here all ready to go in our bowl. And I also use a very light wooden spoon to stir, because basically you're stir frying, sauteing this all together. And I've already brought the temperature of the oil up to about medium, so it's really fluid and pretty much ready to go. So once you've got the heat set, you can just grab all the kale, lower it in, a nice little sizzle. Once the kale's in, I start turning it and just keep it moving to get everything covered with oil, or chuck to the floor. And move it around quite a bit in the beginning as it'll start to wilt. Because kale's pretty poofy in the beginning. Did I miss some? Get some more over here? Okay. I've got the camera woman behind me pointing out where the kale's flying to. So I like to move it around quite a bit and get the oil on everything. That's really my secret, is just to keep turning and moving the kale as much as possible the whole time. Once it starts to wilt and you've got the oil covering everything, then you just maybe lower the heat a little bit, but you keep it going the whole time. I don't let it sit too still because kale is so thin. If you leave it sitting on the heat without moving it, it'll go past wilting and get crispy and then shrivel up. And that's not what you want. You still want it to be a leafy green, not a leafy dead leaf. To get my meaning. So just moving it around here quite a bit. You can see it's all starting to get nicely covered with oil. I'm picking up as much of that from the bottom of the pan as I can. And every now and then, you can leave it for a few moments and just let the heat build up and then continue to move it around. You'll start to notice pretty quick, like my temperature is a little bit above medium right now. If you leave it alone for too long, you'll start to see some of the leaves getting slightly brown or black edges, which try to avoid that. Keep it moving, because I want everything to be like a nice deep green color the whole way through. So once we get to this point, everything's covered and pretty much all the oil is off the bottom of the pan. I just kind of mop up every last bit of it so it's evenly coated all over the kale. And also because, like, depending on what type of kale you get, sometimes there will be lots of big stems. And I'm trying to find one so I can show you. If there are big stems, those take a little bit longer to cook. So you want to make sure that they get plenty of time on the bottom, because they get really tough. Like that chunk of stem right there, if you can see that, it gets really tough and it's hard to chew. So make sure you get lots of heat on those stems and keep everything moving. I love the smell of cooking kale in the evening. Move it around quite a bit. And you just have to stay on top of it. At this heat, if you don't watch it and keep it moving the whole time, it'll get burned. So even now, it's starting to get a little bit darker around some of the edges, so I'm going to back the heat off a little bit. All the oil is gone from the bottom and it's all over the leaves now, which is just the way you like it. You can see it's shrunken down quite a bit. It's lost a lot of its size. Oh, here you go. It's gotten smaller. Just the right size for a meal for two. Back the heat up just a little bit more. Okie dokie. Almost getting to the point where it's time to put the garlic salt on. We usually put garlic salt on ours. It seems to be just the right flavoring to go with the bitterness of the kale. It seems to complement it really nicely, and you don't need too much, just a little bit. So once kind of to this point everything's leveled out and it looks like most of the, you can even test the stems, give them a nice little push. If they seem a little bit squishy, then you're just about where you want to be. At this point, break out the garlic salt, and I just put an even coating across the top, about that much, not dumping a whole lot in there, and that's enough. So that once I start to stir it up now, it will, with the heat in there, it'll give up a little bit more water. Some more steam will be kicked up. And we're about maybe 2 minutes from being done here. But you still keep it moving the whole time as you're going around. It's really, the bottom of the pan is all dried up. The oil has pretty much been absorbed by all the leaves, and that with the little bit of salt in there has dried everything out nicely. Nice smell of garlic, just lightly. And that's pretty much it. I'm cutting the heat off now. We've really shrunken down, so I think we're pretty much finished. This is our sauteed kale. That's about half a bag once again, so you can see how much of it shrinks down and wilts. So that makes a perfect side dish, rich in potassium, right? I think that's what's in it. I don't care, I just like the taste of it. So that pretty much finishes it up. I'm not going to put it on the heat anymore. I'll put it off to the side and just let any residual heat in the pan be absorbed by the kale, and that'll continue to keep it nice and warm for the next few minutes before it's time to serve. So that's how we saute kale in this house. So if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments. You can reach out to Dana or something like that. But hope you enjoy, and let us know if you have any questions. Thanks.